Welcome to the Marshall News and Views Show. I'm Elaine Conyers, and my guest today is Michelle Leininger. Excuse me.
That's right.
Leininger. I didn't pronounce that E. And she is our Lyon County Marshall librarian. And you've been here for just about a year, and that's great. You have done a lot of good things for our community, and just recently. We celebrated 5 years of the opening of the library, the new library that Phyllis and Robert Carr really provided. And then how long is the Children's Library? That edition was what, about a year?
It was. They opened the children's wing just before I got here in September of last year. So it was 1 year old, and in November the main part of the library was 5 years old.
Yeah, well, great. You want to tell us a little bit about this especially the history that you have been involved in, but you also know, of course, how it all was created and all the programs and everything that were added, because I think it's a fantastic library.
Right. We have done a lot to be worthy to be in such a beautiful building since then. And I certainly I haven't been there that long. No. I just started January of this year, right? But as I understand, they did add significant number of programming. Of course, we've always had children's programming, but we've added a number of adult programs, and of great success has been a partnership that we've done actually here with the university, where somebody will come and speak, and they'll speak at both places. One place they'll speak in the evening, and then in the other place they speak the next day over the lunch hour. And that's been hugely successful and drawn crowds in both places, both here at the university and at our place. We've also, just in the year that we've added the children's wing, we've also increased the number of programs that we've done, and we hope to continue on both counts to continue to add those types of things. And I think I mentioned last time I was here, we're getting ready to launch our strategic plan in January, and one of the primary groups we hope to focus on are families. And so we have been looking, doing some research, seeing what other libraries are doing, talking to some families here to find out what sorts of activities they're looking for and that they would like to do as a group, and some intergenerational programming. So we hope to get more into that next year.
Right. So I'm going to throw this question in. Does that mean then when you have that, you'll have a basket by the door and all the cell phones will go in the basket?
No, unfortunately, we try to be as cell phone friendly as we can while not disturbing everyone else who uses the library.
But I mean, if you're going to do family things too, you know.
That's true.
That's one thing that bothers me when I go out to a restaurant and you can see the parents and the grandparents and the kids are there.
Everybody's looking at their...
come on, visit.
Yeah, it was interesting, just on a personal note, when I was home for Thanksgiving, and I actually had my phone next to me. It's my dinner plate. It was terrible. My mother gave me what for about that. But what I told her was my niece, who was in Michigan, who couldn't be with us, and I said, well, this is a way to include her. So I was telling her what we were doing and talking about. So she said, oh, well, now that I know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's right.
She was a little better about that. But yes, I've spoken to a number of people, both in the library and my personal life, who say we need to look up a little bit more and not be on our devices so much.
That's right.
That's true.
Well, that sounds great to have those programs, and just to remind our viewing public that the hours of the library are Mondays through Fridays are what?
Monday through Thursday, we're open here in Marshall. We're open 9:30 to 7:30. And on Fridays, we're open 9:30 to 5:30, and Saturdays 10 to 3.
Okay. And then those Monday through Thursday, then you often have like evening some, not a lot, but you do have evening programs, which is great.
We do. Tuesday is a very popular night for us to have programs, so we often have programming on Tuesdays. Mondays also happen, and we'll do them on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but in this community, Wednesdays is church night, and there's a lot of other activities going on, so it's pretty rare that we'll have something on a Wednesday night. And then we do try to do, especially for kids and families, we do some on Saturdays as well, because that's an opportunity for them to be able to come and do those sorts of things.
No, that's great to be able to, and if a person is done shopping and, oh, I want to do something, you can go to the library and relax in front of the fireplace and read something, and of course you have computers there for people to work on. And
we do, or wireless. We have a number of people who come in who have their own computers or devices, and they just need access to the wireless.
Sure.
So that's actually one of our more popular services is our wireless.
Yeah, and going in there, there's always the tables are full that people doing, and a lot of young people doing research, I'm sure, and all that kind of
they
stuff.
are, and we have a nice core group, and of course anybody can do it. We have one table where we always have a puzzle going.
Oh, and do you? You mean
a jigsaw puzzle?
Oh, wow.
Sure, and in fact, we just set a new one out. As I walked by, I'm a big puzzle fan myself, and I noticed we put out it's a painting representation of the Pearl Harbor battle. Of course, that anniversary is coming up, so that's the puzzle they're working on this week. We have a number of people who donate puzzles to us, so we try to keep one puzzle out. But one thing a lot of people don't realize, in fact, we just had someone ask us yesterday who saw our puzzle out on the table, and she said, I enjoy doing puzzles at home. Do you check out puzzles? And as a matter of fact, we do.
Oh, you do?
Both for children and adults.
Oh,
so if you're tired of the puzzles you have, you can certainly come to the library and check out some of the puzzles we have.
Well, I really like to hear that because I just recently got addicted to puzzles. I have quite a time leaving that table and getting my work done because it just really
calls your name.
Yeah.
Right.
We do. That's great.
We do have a number of unusual things like that you can check out. We also have cake pans. I think some people know we have cake pans, but they're in the shape of different characters, or I think we have one that is a Christmas tree shape and a candy cane shape, but then we also have like a Winnie the Pooh or Barney the dinosaur. And people often don't know that we check those sorts of things out. And of course, on the children's side, we have puzzles, puppets, what we call kits, where it's both a book and a music CD or an audio of reading the book. So we have a number of different things beyond just our books and movies.
Yeah, that's wonderful. As well, things have really moved ahead with the times, and that's really good.
Right, but we also want to make sure that we have all those sorts of things, like continue to have print books and movies. Even though people stream or download a lot of those things, there are still a significant number of people who still enjoy holding the book or putting the DVD in the machine and not necessarily streaming it.
That's right. That is great. So, well, you've had quite an eventful year. Where did you have your last job before you came here? I don't remember.
Actually, right before I came here, I was at the University of Pittsburgh, and I was getting my PhD.
Oh, okay.
And I was also teaching there. I taught classes, and that paid for my my ability to be there. And in fact, I still continue to teach 2 classes for the university. I have a new class starting in January, so I teach the spring and the summer terms online, of course, because I can't make it back to Pittsburgh.
No. Well, that's wonderful. And what do you think about living out on the prairie? That certainly is different. But you grew up.
I did. I grew up in Iowa, and I have to say I'm happy to be back in the Midwest, and I'm certainly happy, except on necessarily days like today where we've had snow and rain spitting at us for a couple days now.
That's right. That's right. Well, Minnesota's known for that.
It
so,
is. It is.
Anyway, whatever.
It is.
So, anything else that you would like to talk about, or plans that you have for the future?
Sure. Related to our collection, I was mentioning things that may be a little more unusual that we check out. But another thing that we've discovered that people don't necessarily know is they know we get newspapers and magazines, but in fact, for the magazines, not the current issue, but any issue that's older, you can also check those out. And
great.
so, of course, this time of year, there's a lot of ideas in all of the November and December for entertaining and all sorts of decorating and things like that. And in July, I think it was in July, we spent a great deal of time looking through all of our magazines, looking through what was available, what sort of interest people had from what they were checking out in those topical areas in other parts of the collection.
Yeah.
And we totally, well, not totally, I'd say about half the collection of our magazines, we changed subscriptions. So we actually have a lot of new subscriptions.
Sure.
So hopefully people will stop in and see those. And that's all related to one of the big projects that we started when I came was really re-looking at all the collection. So we have looked through to see what people are reading, what's getting checked out, what are they watching and listening to. And we've used our money this year to really find the holes in the collection and put new materials in there, weed out old collections with bad information. The information just gets old. And getting new information in those areas. And that's all in preparation. Coming in January, we're going to be launching a new readers service called Readers Cafe.
Oh, really?
We're very excited about it. And so we've really spruced up the collection. We're going to start doing a lot more displays on topical interests for people. When we launch our new website also in January, we're looking at adding a blog where we'll talk about the new books that are coming in. We currently do put our new book list in the newspaper, which is also very helpful. But we're really going to focus a little bit more on the collection and those people in our communities who really are readers or listeners or watchers. They like movies and audiobooks and all of those things. To really promote the collection a little bit more and to give people more access into the collection. We have a lot of browsers. And so we want people to be able to browse more easily. So we're really excited about that.
And you call it a coffee?
Readers Cafe.
Readers Cafe, Does that mean there's going to be coffee?
We are exploring possibilities of way we might be able to do something, like that. And we kind of came up with that concept because I know you've been into the library, you have those booths right there at the front. And that, of course, to me always suggests a diner. So, and of course, there's always food for thought, right? That's what reading's about. So we'll have a little bit of a food theme, but it really will focus on our collection.
Good.
So we're excited about that.
That's wonderful. But people can't complain there isn't anything to do in town because there's lots of
they
stuff.
can always come to the library. We'll give them ideas. The other thing we're working on as part of the strategic plan is, as you know, a strategic plan helps us figure out where we want the library to head. And as we look at that, our two important support organizations, both the Library Foundation and the Friends organization, are also looking at changing their focus as the library also changes their focus. So both of those groups are looking for new members and people to participate and are reorganizing themselves from what they've done in the past, which was wildly successful and important. But as the library starts having a different focus and going in a new direction, they too want to follow in those same places. So in December, we're not sure the date yet, but we will be having a Friends reorganization meeting. So I hope people will look for that date or give us a call and we'll let you know. We should have that date in place early next week.
Okay.
And we're hoping to get, we've had, our current Friends group are awesome. They've done incredible amounts of work, and they've done it for a very long time. And we're looking to just bring in some other people to help out with that crew that's been working so hard, and to give a new opportunity for others like myself who are new in the community and want to get involved but don't necessarily want to be on a board yet or at that level of involvement, but have a great enjoyment and want to meet people. Certainly the Friends and the Foundation is one way to do that.
Yes, of course.
And in January the Foundation will be having a similar type meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, you got, you really have a vision there, and you're getting that vision into play, and that's great.
We are. I have to say, back to the 5-year celebration, it was really terrific to come to a community like Marshall and see such an incredible building that was built, and so really my effort has been to make sure that we have services, customer service, programs that are really worthy to be in such a phenomenal space. And I have to say my staff has just done tremendous work to make sure that that happens.
Yes, that's great.
And so the other thing about being it's sort of like being in a house for 5 years. You begin to say, well, that worked, but this might work a little differently, right? Yeah. So we're tweaking some things. So, so make sure you stop in and see us on a regular basis, because we're shifting things around a little bit, again, to make sure that we're being responsive to the community and people can find things and browse more easily. So we're always looking for a better way to do something.
Another thing that I like about the library is that you have kind of 2 meeting rooms. I know I've been to a lot of meetings in the large meeting room as you come into the library, and that's so wonderful to have something like that in the community, because there's always times when organizations need to get together, and then of course it provides a space for your programming.
Absolutely.
And then you have the smaller Minnesota room. I just found out about that here not too long ago. I didn't even realize that was there, and that is more private, and it's very, very good for some of the meetings and smaller meetings.
Smaller groups. That room got added as we transitioned the old children's area space. When we built the new children's wing, that's where the old children's area was. So as we built on that wing, and I'm very pleased they did it. Of course, I wasn't here, so I can't take any of the credit, but they decided to put in that Minnesota room, and it's just been a lovely space. It holds about 15, you can fit about 18 relatively comfortably in there. But it also gave rise to the opportunity for us to really showcase not only Minnesota, but especially Southwest Minnesota. So we have actually pulled a number of things from our collection that have to do with Minnesota, and especially Southwest Minnesota, both authors who live here or are from here, but also history and just the topic from here. And we now have them in that room.
Okay, so you've moved the Minnesota collection from that, that other room that where they used to have it. Yeah, because actually you got 3 meeting rooms, right, when I think about it. That one with the, well, it's a lot of books that you can take out, but I've looked many times at that Minnesota collection. So now that has moved it to the Minnesota.
Into the Minnesota room. So people who are looking to do some research, we do have old city directories, so you can see where people lived years ago, phone directories. People have been donating not only high school yearbooks, but we're even getting now some of the elementary Facebooks. So, and if you have some, we would love to, we continue to collect them. And we've been a little surprised at how many people stop in and say, oh, do you have yearbooks I'd like to look through? And so they've been popular for people to look through. We have a number of writers in this area, and we've had a number of writers in this area, including some literary journals and magazines that have been written, some here at the university, and we have those in that collection. So it's a really eclectic but interesting collection, and the vast majority can be checked out. Some of the research materials or ones that are We do have older things that are a little more delicate.
Well, yeah,
so we don't let those check out.
But
that's why it's nice to put them in that room. So if
Yes.
you want to do research, there's a place for you to sit,
Yes.
bring out all your materials, and get what you need.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I know my husband donated a bunch of yearbooks, and I was amazed to see that that other people hadn't donated those. But I suppose, you know, they feel close to that era.
Right.
But there's a time then when maybe their grandchildren want to get rid of all this stuff. You know, they should bring it to the library.
It's not as meaningful to them.
No, it isn't.
Right. But there are a number of people who love to come, and for whatever reason, whatever they're looking for, they want to see that. And so it's been great. And now we have a place to take care of those kind of materials, and to as they age, of course, books, we think of books lasting forever, but if you don't take good care of them, they don't. And this gives us an opportunity to actually put a little more care than in the general collection, because in a public library, most of the collection comes and goes. And that's okay, because you always get new. But in a collection like the Minnesota collection, we want to make sure that they don't go, that we preserve them in a way that, you know, 15, 20, 50 years from now, somebody wants to see a yearbook from 1953, we'll have that for them.
Great. Is there, you know, you say you preserve them, is there a special way you do that, or is it just that you're keeping them safe in there, so to speak?
At the very least, that's what we do. We keep them safe in there. There are some things that you can do, and we've started doing that. Some of the, I was mentioning some literary magazines and things like that. Those are usually printed on not great paper. They're like typical magazines or newspapers, so it's not great print. And you can put things in what they call preservation boxes or envelopes. And so we have a number of those that we've started putting them in the envelopes. It keeps them, the things that paper in particular and books don't like is they don't like extreme heat or cold, and they don't like moisture. Those are the two things that they don't like. And so at least in terms of heat and cold and direct sunlight, that the preservation envelopes will stop that. Also, when you put books on a shelf, oddly enough, they rub against each other, and that can cause some damage. So again, boxes or envelopes will help. So we've started doing that for some of the more delicate materials. Most are in pretty good shape, though, because they're robust, and it just gives us an opportunity, just by putting them in a separate place, does protect them.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. Do you also save newspapers, or does the museum do that? I'm not sure who does that anymore.
Right. We don't have, we keep the local papers back a couple months, and then we get them on microfilm. So if somebody wants just an article or whatever, they can come look at that. As I understand, the museum has the actual physical old copies. So sometimes people want to actually look at the old physical copy. That's where they would need to go. But if they just want an article printed off, we can help you with that because it's all on microfilm.
That's a good idea. Back when Marshall celebrated their 125th anniversary, I was in charge of that, and to find the archival newspaper was quite a thing. But then it so happened that one of our former museum, well, he wasn't a director, but a sponsor, so to speak, he went up to the cities and he got from the library up there, and so they had them at the museum. And then, because we had no way of researching like you're talking about with it wasn't, we had to look through the pages.
You do.
And that was quite an experience to do that.
It is. It's a very, I'll call it an old school experience for students who have to come in and maybe look at the front page of the paper of the day they were born or whatever. And they're used to having a little Google box where they just type in and it comes up with those things. But that's not the way microfilm works. You actually have to look through the paper.
You have to look.
Right. Very different.
I'm so glad that is, because that's so important for documenting history. Like I say, when you're doing like a celebration like that, you have to look back and gather that information.
It is. One of the things that I had the opportunity to do is work with an intern this summer. And we had about 4 maybe up to 8 boxes that had come from the building. So they had been packed for about 4 years.
Sure.
And they were all of the old records from the library. And so she went through and actually put them in a filing system, in an archival filing system for us. And one of the things that she discovered was the 3 original bound books, that the minutes and the budgets from the library from its inception as a city library, which was in 1901.
Okay.
And that was in preparation for applying to Andrew Carnegie to get money to build the Carnegie building that we had here.
Yes.
There was a library here before that, but
before the Carnegie?
Yeah, there was a library before 1901, but it wasn't considered a city library. Especially in the Midwest, most public libraries in our communities were actually started by women's clubs. And so they were fit into maybe the corner of the grocery store or the general store, I think here someone said they thought for a while it was part of a barber shop. So it was just wherever it would fit.
That's right.
Sort of the free little library concept. So they didn't track the books as much, and they of course didn't have much of a budget. The women's clubs raised money. But one of the things that Andrew Carnegie did was he said, I will give you money to build buildings, but you have to show me that the city's going to support its operations. And so that's why they had to go through this process of becoming an official municipal library. And that happened in 1901, and they had their first board assigned, and they brought the board together, and we found those notebooks. And as someone who just started and doesn't know the history of the Marshall Library, it was great to look at some of those.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, because it is, like I say, so important that we keep track of all that stuff. And just on a lighter note, when we were doing that research, a lot of people came in to the museum and did the research, and one of the printing companies lent us a copy machine so that we could copy these articles for the author. And we found a lot of stuff, and somebody stopped it one day before he left, and he said, you know, we've got a lot of really good stuff here, but you know, there's a lot of, other things that went on here in Marshall. And if we wrote that up, we'd probably sell a heck of a lot more books.
It's a different type of book.
That's right. But so the past had their problems
and downs, just like today. That's right.
Anyway, so that's interesting too. But we've I'm sure you have. Oh, I know you have in the library the Prairie.
We do.
Prairie book, So
we do.
Anyway, that's wonderful. Well, you have anything special coming up for the Christmas season? Any programs?
We don't. In fact, just today we were talking about how we were going to decorate. So we're very excited about that. Again, it's a beautiful building, and I think it just really holds the possibilities of very festive, decorations and things like that. We'll be changing up our displays for people for the holiday and things like that. So plenty to come in and see.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. So, and do you always have the Christmas books out for the children, or do you just bring them in for the holiday?
No, we always have them. We always have them on a shelf, so if people ask for them. But we'll certainly bring them out and for display, so people will see them, both in the children's area and the adult area. We have a number of both fiction and nonfiction books for adults.
Sure. Yeah. Well, great. Yeah. So that's. I bring out some of the old books that I have and set them out in the living room during the holidays. Not that anybody really looks at them. Little kids love to when they come.
Yes.
Even just because it's an old book.
There you go. There you go. Very different than what they're used to today. That's true.
So really good. And well, this has been very interesting, and sure appreciate all the work that you do and the programs that you put together for our community.
Thank you.
And just keep up that good work. We love it.
Well, we love it too. That's why we do this work.
Okay, and we'll be back you'll have to come
Absolutely.
back and with anything that comes up that you want the public to know, be sure and give me a call and we'll have you here to tell
I'll do
about
that.
it.
Well, we're getting ready, as I said, to publish our strategic plan.
Yes.
So early next year, I can come talk about that.
Do that. That'd be great.
All right.
Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.